WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. I'm not sure this time. Dingle triple distilled single malt Irish whiskey. Yay! Now, this is the first time Dingle has actually had a real core range, which is great. Whiskybase number 183358. Over here in Europe, we're paying anywhere between 42 and 47 euros for this. Now, I'm going to be complaining about a few things. Maybe someone from Dingle is going to listen, or maybe someone has already listened to someone else complaining about this, and they might have changed some things for the future. Now, I love Dingle. All right? Full stop. Period. That's the truth. Dingle is the reason I have this YouTube channel in English. I had been doing for about 2 years in German. My YouTube channel, I noticed that many of the bottles I was doing, in particular, the Dingles, were not out there in English. No one was doing them at all. There was a time where I was basically the only person doing Irish whiskey in English, especially the new distilleries and the new bottles and the new things that were coming up in the market. And meanwhile, there's a lot of other great Irish people doing great Irish whiskey reviews on YouTube. So that's no longer my job, which is great because it was kind of stupid for me, this dumb guy over in Germany that hasn't lived in America for 30 plus years talking about Irish whiskey. It was just not really authentic. So what we have here is the first release, which is 50,000 bottles. Very, very good. Now, I must admit that I do not like the marketing on this. So that's what I'm going to complain about a little bit. Now, first of all, I'm going to complain about the fact that nowhere on the bottle, nowhere on the can here does it say natural color. It does say non-chilled filtered here, which I like. So non-chilled filtered here. But why didn't you put over here or someplace else natural color? That would have been great. So online everywhere it says no natural color, but nowhere on the bottle and the tin doesn't mention that. Now, the second thing that I'm not a fan of, that's just me, I'm not a fan of the slogan here. Hand cut from the edge. So, yes, I understand that Dingle is one of the towns on the farthest western point of Ireland. From there, it's 4,000 miles all the way over then to the United States. There's nothing else. So they're on the edge of the European continent. I'm not sure if Iceland agrees with you, but hey, at least you're on the edge of Ireland. And the second thing I don't really understand is why would you use everything's an imperial measurements? It's 240 feet deep, the well. No, it's 80 meters. This is for the world, isn't it? It's not just for America. Or is it? So, and to be honest, I really don't care how deep your well is. It could be 40 feet. It could be 400 feet. I don't care. Does anyone really care how deep your well is? Yes, you have your own well and it's underneath the distillery. Yay. But the depth of it is really not important to anyone that I know of. But hey, who's that? Now, the second thing that I really don't like is you have here literally, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs full of marketing blah blah. It's just marketing stuff. But what you didn't put on there is maybe for us as the whiskey geeks, the most important thing, that you actually use first fill casks. You have in total, I have to read this to make sure I get this right here. You have in this batch here 69% first fill Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Did you put it here? No, you just wrote down sherry cask and bourbon. Yay. 31% first fill bourbon cask. Yay. Why isn't that information at least on the back someplace? We, the whiskey geeks, would love to have that. So we don't really have to know that, where was it here? Our distillate is hand cut, meaning that our head distiller makes the cuts from heads to heart and tail by. No problem. Nose and, of course, hand. And before bottling, we adjust the strength of our whiskey to 46.3% using the purest drawn water from our own well 240 feet deep below us. This is just the final process, which we do entirely manually. From the time the grist and that same pure water meet in the mash tun, adjusting the temperature of the wort, making the spirit cuts, to filling the casks, everything is done by hand. All the senses work in harmony as we create Dingle single malt Irish whiskey. So if you have such a great master distiller, Graham Cole, he is great. Why don't you put his name on here? That would be great. I don't see it anywhere on here. So I would love to have had his name here. All right, so I know he did not distill this, but he did bottle and choose everything here. All right, so, and you talk about Dingle's unique microclimate, mild, coastal, with plenty of gentle humidity. It means it rains a lot. All right, and endows the whiskey with its sense of place. So Dingle is where it's distilled, where it's matured, where it gradually evolves into the distinct spirit you're holding right now. A whiskey that knows exactly where it comes from. A whiskey cut from the landscape. That whole last sentence is just blah, blah. Sorry. All right, so now here, the last paragraph is also, I'm sorry, I don't really like this. Do you? At Dingle, we think small. Really? Oh, thank you. We think small. Comma. And small is not just beautiful, full stop. It's central to what we do, to how we think. It's what allows us to craft our whiskey exactly the way we want it, in every sense hand cut from the edge. Cilantro. I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me. All right, so I would rather have facts and figures on there about the cask, the cask wood management and so on. But hey, that's just me. All right, so basically it just says here, non-chilled filtered, matured in bourbon and sherry casks, product of Ireland. They could have done so much more, really. All right, 46 euros, let's say 30 euros, 10-year-old, no age statement, 40%, 46.3%. This has color in it. So just look at the different colors here. This is non-chill filter. This has color, and this has coloring added. So that's not a fair fight, I know, but still I want to do this just from the purpose of showing that we have an age statement in Ireland, and we have the same two woods. We have sherry, and we have here bourbon. And that's a problem. When I hear sherry and bourbon, I think this. I don't think magnificent cast choices. And that's something you could actually showcase more. All right, I think I've ranted, I've raved, I've actually complained enough. So let's go to the actual whiskey tasting part. On the nose. I don't know about you, but I'm time machine warped back to the past, to the very first time I nosed a Dingle product. Dingle product release number one. It wasn't the cast strength, so sorry, but it was the release number one that I had, and I loved it. It was tropical punch, and I get the same tropical punch here. This is Dingle how I've wanted it to be for the last 3 years now. I've done, I think, 10 different reviews on my channel, at least in German. I think I've done almost the same amount here in English, and every single time there's that disappointment in my presentation. Oh, back then. Oh, back then. Oh, back then. Now I finally give it. If I were to give the nose here its own unique mark, I would give this a B. I love this nose. This is what I want Dingle whiskey to basically always smell like. That is so good. So what does it smell like? That's the question of the day here. No tasting notes at all here. Now that's something you can say that's good, and something you can say that's bad. I would have preferred a couple of tasting notes in my own personal opinion, but that's all right. What I don't get is I don't get that Pedro Jimenez raisin moment. I get some type of mint. I get a little bit of a sweet pear moment. I do, and this is something that's a little bit of the problem. I do get a tiny touch of sulfur. And when you add water to this, the sulfur does pop out. So don't, unless you love sulfur, which I don't. Honey spice, a little bit like gummy bears. I like. Bushmills? Honey maltiness. Maybe malted honeyness. Very simple. This is way more complex. This is giving me something here. Cheers. Mm. The 46.3% gives you viscosity, gives you that mouth feel. This has, yeah, it just scrapes along that threshold of for me for sulfur. My tongue will tingles a little bit. It's like, wait, there's that spidey sense that says sulfur, but it's not really there. And then at the end, you get this wonderful tropical punch moment. I like. Now, if you add water, in my opinion, it just falls apart. That um, everything that's so perfectly balanced just kind of gets out of whack, and that sulfur takes over, and so on. Um, I can give this a B minus minus C plus plus for a whiskey, just as it is. Don't try to add a little bit more. Don't try to make it anyhow different than what the master distiller perfected here. It's good. You get a little bit of lime, you get a little bit of here, maybe some chocolate moments, some yeast, doughy moments, a little bit of nutmeg. I like a little bit of vanilla pudding spice, or I don't know, vanilla pudding has spice, but a little bit of vanilla pudding moment. This is a very nice whiskey. 46 euros, it's definitely a C. Would I have preferred 35 euros? Of course. Would I have hated 65 euros? Yes. So I guess they actually marketed exactly where they need to be to get the money back and to have enough money for expansion and to pay for marketing and for people and for everything else that's going on there. So is this overly priced? Definitely not. Could it have been a little bit less and it would have made me more happy? Yes. So it's a C. So B, A, why? So why haven't you bought it? B is buy it. C, you can buy it if you like. D is you don't need to buy it. And F, why was it even made? So the ranking scale real quick. So this is definitely a buy it. This is if you see this in America, if you see this in Europe, if you see this in your country, and you've never had this before, I would actually say buy it before you try it. Of course, if you have the opportunity to try it before you buy it, go for it. But I thoroughly enjoyed this whiskey here. This is going to be something I'm going to use for tastings a little bit more in the future. I'm going to spend some time getting to know this bottle a lot more because I'm late to the game. It came out over here in Germany in May. And I've been asked many a time, Jason, when will you do? When will you do? And it's like, wait. And it's a problem that it was there behind my shelf and then on my shelf, and there's a couple of bottles in front of it. And then it kept on getting more stuff in front of it, just kept on going back and back and back. And some at Christmas time, I finally said, all right, good. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to do this. And now it's going to be going online finally and surely. And I regret not having done it earlier, to be honest. I like. Hmm. Mm, 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 mm. So good. Think a little bit of the gummy bear moment. All right. Um, Bushmills, 10-year-old. This bottle is good. The last bottle I had was not. The bottle before that was good. So apparently there's either batch variations or I had a bad bottle or I had a bad half a year. I don't know. But that last bottle I just did not like. But this one on the nose, it's really funny how thin this is compared to that. This is beautiful. 46.3%. I can't stress enough how well done this whiskey is made. Online, people are saying this is up to 7-year-old whiskey in here. Wow. It's a no age statement. It's a 3-year-old whiskey, according to that fact. But it is actually probably much older. And unfortunately, they don't put down that it's Pedro Jimenez and that's first fill bourbon casks. That'd be great. They don't put down that it's on-chilled filtered. Am I starting to rant and rave again? Sorry. There's just so much Dingle could do that's better. Some distilleries often complain about the fact that production makes the whiskey and marketings try to put a spin on it. And often that spin is not what we whiskey geeks want. Now, don't forget us whiskey geeks. I know you have to have a story. I know you have to have your slogan hand cut from the edge. Okay, that's not for me. But at least put the information on the bottle or on the tin or wherever you're on the can so that we can actually know what's in it before we have to go online and research everything ourselves. That'd be great. No age statements needed. Just put down the fact that those are the types of cask used. And that'd be very, very good. So I'm giving this, as I said, a B minus, C plus on a bad day, but on a good day, B minus. Value for money, a solid C. I like this as well for the value for money. This is good whiskey, but this blows it out of the water. This is so much better over here, and I hope you have the chance to get Dingle sometime soon. All right, question of the day. I've tried many different Dingles, from fathers and sons, sons and daughters, to the founding fathers, to single malt, to single pot still, batches 1 to 5, I think, each. Now we finally have the core range there. What is your favorite Dingle product you've had so far? Or if that's not applicable, which Dingle product would you like to try? Whiskey Jason here. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, and telling others. All the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.